who's since been joined in the course of the conversations by Malaki Ogunmadu, who is the, I think, the chairman, the president of the Committee for the Defense of Human Rights. Thank you for joining us.
I'm delighted to join, even lately.
No problem, we do understand. Okay, Wale, you were going to talk about the political wheel.
Yes.
Please keep it short.
Very short. The head, the president has that, he has that reputation of putting his hand on something and getting it right. And of course, even if not the president, I'll just quickly go to Ghana. The other day, Ghana was rotten, but it took somebody who has that political will to make it back, and J.J. Rawlings. And of course, today now, Ghana is a different song. Everything is going on fine per se. We can do the same in Nigeria. Institutions must be checked. All institutions, particularly those anti-graft institutions, must be given the teeth to fight very well or to bite very well. The laws are there. They have all the laws to work with. The interest and the political will to monitor them from the presidency. Look at the DSS and the EFCC saga. There's not a level, there must be a line. If the political will is there, obviously, because that one too is another issue of corruption. But be that as it may, once the presidency puts its feet down that, yes, this is the line of command, this is how it is. Anybody who crosses the line, it does not matter, maybe my wife, my child, my friend. Let him face the music. Everybody will sit up. But when they are paddy thing, then obviously the political will won't sound, won't sit down.
Okay, paddy thing. What about, does that apply to the current situation that everybody's talking about?
It's the same thing now.
The minor gate.
Of course, now coming to the minor gate. In fairness, minor has wrapped everything up. It takes a thief to catch a thief. Minor says the president is surrounded by thieves or by people who are rotting. Then you call the minor, well, who are the people that you know? Who are you talking about? Then they will start off from there. To me, this is a very good starting point. The man is not saying, I know not, he said that there are people who he knows, who are the other 40 thieves. He is agreed that he is the Alibaba. The others are the 40 thieves.
I really agreed.
Well, you see, I mean, there's a literal meaning.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So to me, that's where it's going. That no, I'm not saying, I know that there are people in the presidency. If not, how will he come back? Through the back door, and everybody, look at the admission of the permanent secretary. To me, I read my case with the admission of the, if he likes, let him be the fall guy or not, let him be the, let's
okay.
how
Malaki.
What was the question, the general?
Let's look
on
at
the
it.
minor.
We are talking about corruption, and he's mentioned the minor case, whereby people, they say people surrounding the president, some of them are not as clean as they want us to believe, yet they seem to just be going about their business without anybody having to query them. So let's look at how we need to address these corruption issues. Where exactly do we start from? From the people or from the political class?
Before we delve into the means of addressing them, let us first of all make a few preliminary remarks. First is that it's a sad commentary, one that has clearly occasioned huge embarrassment. If you like, we are scandalized that a government that rose to power on the crest of its avowals to deal with issues of corruption is now, now found itself in a convoluted waters where corruption is even at the height of all the characterization of the situation. Now, for me, I would want to put on record that it seemed to me that Buhari, as a person and as a leader of this government, he was and still determined to fight corruption, and we saw that by so many steps taken. Even as little as the BVN, the TSA, the whistleblowers policy, the Presidential Committee on Anti-Corruption. Yet, the lack of coordination and the absence of coherence in the affairs of government regarding specifically the issues of corruption has completely jeopardized his effort. The last of which was very badly packaged with the kind of discordant voices we had during the last sitting, where principal actors involved in the minor case were invited to testify before the House of Representative Committee investigating that. Look, and I think that the poverty of the situation is that for as long as this lack of coordination and coherence continues to play out, the Nigerian people will remain the victims of this whole inability to eventually deliver on that score. Now, the minor case is a sore one. First is to ask the question, how did you even get to this point? Even as a public officer, once you are indicted with respect to misconduct by their rules, federal civil service rules, it's called serious misconduct, likely to lead to either your dismissal or suspension, you are interdicted. What that means is that you are put not just on a half salary, but even your operation in the civil service is limited. All of those ought to be in place. And then to hear the permanent secretary, who is obligated under that rule to ensure that happens, take responsibility not because they made a mistake, but because he feels that there isn't anything particularly wrong.
No consequence.
Now, any such person who is interdicted under the same rule is not expected to leave his duty post. No less travel out of this country. Even if he has to travel out of this country, by the rules I've mentioned, he has to get express written permission. Both the immigration and all of them have said, look, this man, if he's out of this country, did not travel legitimately. So this acceptance of responsibility ought to have a corresponding sanctions. One that clearly shows that you cannot just continue as though there are no laws and regulations in this country.
But if the AGF would have a meeting with minor outside of the country, even when it's been declared wanted, or as a fugitive, as we've put it, what does it say?
Now, I thank you for that, because I was coming to that. The AGF, and I'm sure I'm on a national television, has constituted a serious embarrassment, not just to the legal profession, but with respect to the quality and content of the advice that he gives.
Sorry, let me just quickly add this. Don't forget that it was based on what the DG DSS advised him.
Now, even at that, under Section 150 of the Constitution, the AGF, Attorney General of the Federation, is supposed to be the chief legal officer. What that presupposes is that he is the repository of all the laws of the country. The minor case is a legal issue. I do not understand, and it is difficult for me, also as a lawyer, to fathom the rationale behind the idea of an AGF seeking an advice.
Security.
No, it's a legal matter. They have been warrant of arrest, he has been suspended. These are all legal matters. So, to what extent can you justify, one, going to meet a fugitive of the law outside the country? If you did not like what was going on in your country, I understand that the Interpol has also declared him wanted. Why did you not reach out to the Interpol? What quality of advice were you seeking from the DG of SSS with respect to a fugitive from the law? Now, to what extent have you also compounded that whole investigation by meeting this man without reporting back to the agency that is after him? And that is the EFCC.
So does it speak to the lack of coordination and things that you mentioned earlier?
It reinforces that argument. It also exposes the quality of the kind of the entire legal regime that we have at the moment. So how have you helped the judiciary if you are aware that there is a warrant of arrest, if there is a court proceedings with respect of which this man was to be in court, you as the chief legal officer of the country, how has your visit to Mena in a foreign country assisted the country, I mean Nigeria, with respect to the processes already in place.
So how do we move?
The way to move is the kind of sensitization that you are doing now. First is to show the resentment of the Nigerian people, to say that whereas we have been battered so long, we are not fools. Because if you watch what happened in that hearing, you could see that all of them, from head of service to the Minister of Interior to the Permanent Secretary, they are trying to wash their hands off the situation. There is no coordination, there is no cohesion enough to stick a government together with respect to dealing with such a high-handed situation like the corruption. What will happen is that as we all cut the tree, we are watching the direction of the fell. It has become clear, and that is unfortunate, because there was an investiture in 2015 where Nigerian people felt, rightly so, I imagine, that this government can deal with corruption squarely. But it has become very clear that whereas the president himself might mean well, he has not been able to organize the affairs of government and guarantee that cohesion and coordination I talk about with respect to delivering on that score. The Nigerian people, therefore, are very willing to rate this government and say that, look, it took our will to remove an incumbent government in 2015, and that nothing stops us from reinventing that same will in 2019. The only danger is that 4 years have gone down the line, and we are still talking about removing a government rather than consolidating on it.
Okay.